Maybe some of you have already seen it, some of you haven't. But before we do all that, I need everyone to stand up. And I need you to give a huge round of applause, okay, for Mr. and Mrs. Sharples. I thought Lauren was here. We are going to move on to the speeches now. So, if you could put your hands together and give a big round of applause for the father of the groom, Keith Jenkins. Father of the bride, sorry.
Praise the Lord. Thank you very much, and what a pleasure it is to be with you, and I hope you're enjoying everything. As the father of the bride, it is my pleasure to make the first speech. And I would like to welcome everyone, first of all. I believe everyone here has made and played a very important part in the lives of this lovely couple. And thank you very much. You have a special name tag and a special table. And I think all the arrangements have been quite amazing. Must say that if there's any issues you have a problem with, you can blame me. But if everything went right, you can blame this wonderful couple here. Okay. I want to say something special about Sarah. In 2022, Sarah started his studies at Kiel University and was very focused on her studies. She's a very good student, very hardworking. And I must say that dating was not on the radar, much less marriage. But she never imagined that she would meet somebody so special. And I believe we've seen that today. And she met my son-in-law. And this was an event where she was attending church as well. So I really thank God for that. This soon became friends and became a lovely couple, and a relationship developed because I believe that they were really called to be together. And I think we've witnessed that today. And it developed wonderfully. And I believe this happened so fast because God was in it. So we give thanks for that. There are many things I admire about Jake. I must say, in the little time I've known him, he's level-headed. Okay? He's conscientious. I hope that's right. Along with an enormous sense of generosity and determination. Just to name a few things. I must turn to my daughter now. If you want to make time fly, please have a daughter. It seems not too long ago I was holding a newborn 9.5-pound baby girl with a beautiful dark brown hair in my arms, which was a very wonderful experience. It was one of the most proudest moments in my life, apart from this today. And Sarah is actually a millennium baby. I don't know if you know that. She was born on the 11th of January, 2000. And I remember my wife, Louise, was encouraged to jump up and down to try and give birth so that she gave birth on the 1st of January so we could win a small fortune. But that didn't happen. God had other ideas. And I must say that Sarah is very special. She's been surrounded by 4 boys in the family. Does that not sound like a dangerous combination? You might think, how did this little girl survive? Okay. But she persevered. She's quite strong of character, and I think that came from being in such an environment. We say in the biblical context, strength is always made perfect in weakness. And her abilities today match the calling of God on her life. And I believe we'll all succeed if we hear, trust, and obey. Just simply. And God gets the glory. I want to say something more. When it comes to talking about Sarah's qualities, where do I start? She's intelligent, generous, kind, caring, hardworking, definitely. very resilient. She received the Duke of Edinburgh Award while studying at school, so you can imagine the kind of person she is. In 2017, Sarah went on a school trip that lasted 2 weeks and involved bike riding and canoeing down the Great Zambezi River. That's pretty impressive. To guarantee her place, she had to be in the best physical condition for several weeks. So it was quite something to watch. She's genuinely followed her interests. Traveling, I think that's one. Okay. Also, she finds time for God in the church. She attends. And in 2019, Sarah came with her dad on a trip, a missionary trip that lasted about 2 weeks. We had 30 meetings, if you can imagine that. It's quite hectic. We went to East Africa, we're also in Mauritius. Sounds nice, doesn't it? But anyway. But she's followed an amazing life. And she's had a passionate career, especially. And I believe she's well on the way to being a qualified vet. Hallelujah. This wasn't after a few ups and downs, let's say. There was some exam results that were only enough to get her into Middlesex University to start with. I've answered one of the questions on the crossword, by the way. Nevertheless, she propelled herself by faith and her determination to finish that calling, and I believe she's been rewarded with that. God named all our children. I believe names are important. They tell us something. And Stephen, I've got 4, and I'm just going to name them. First of all, Stephen here. He's the firstborn. He's named after a martyr in the New Testament. Best of luck to you. Matthew, he's the second. Sorry, I did ask God about these things. Matthew was named after a disciple and a gospel writer in the Bible. Daniel was he's the last, but he was very special. He came later and named after one of the greatest prophets in the Old Testament. But let's keep the best to last. Our little girl has a very special name, and I want to give you some background. At the end of 1999, my wife had an opportunity to teach part-time at Nottingham Trent College. This was a breakthrough for us because, in a sense, we were struggling financially, so it was a great help. But then she became pregnant with Sarah. I was in the process of going full-time into the ministry. I was an engineer before, and I went from a good, comfortable salary to next to nothing. So it didn't look very good. In fact, it looked impossible. And for me, I just had to laugh. And it just looked a bit crazy. But I noticed in the Bible, Sarah laughed. I'm not talking about this Sarah. Sarah in the Bible is Abraham's wife. And if you know the story, she laughed because Abraham talked about the precious promises of God that he wanted to do in his life. And we knew something was happening, and Sarah's part of that. So we just had to laugh. And so we named her Sarah for that reason. As I've said, Sarah has a special name. And if you look up the name Sarah, it has a Hebrew origin, and it means, in the feminine, it means princess. How about that? Spelt with an I, though. Yes? But later, her name was renamed. And in the Old Testament, when she fulfilled her destiny and she completed one of the promises that God had on her life, her name was renamed from Sarah with an I to Sarah with an H. And that's who we have today. And the name Sarah means my princess. So I want you to stand with me. Ladies and gentlemen, let's stand. We have a radiant and beautiful bride. We have a charming, handsome groom. Please join me in a toast to Jake and my princess Sarah. God bless. Jake and Sarah. Thank you very much.
Good evening. Sarah, you look just really very gorgeous. And Jacob, when you're not wearing your classic fit of a flannel shirt over a graphic tee, you clean up pretty nicely as well. But Josh misintroduced me because I stand here tonight not as the best man, but as someone who has an obligation to the truth. And the truth is, we've all been deceived, haven't we, Jacob? For those unaware, following on from the theme of names that Keith so delightfully introduced, the name Jacob is derived from the Hebrew name Yaakov, which means supplanter or the one who deceives. And in this amazing case of nominative determinism, we have in Jacob David Sharples a first-class deceiver. All of us, I'm really sorry, but I have to include you in this as well, Sarah, all of us have fallen prey to his deception over the years. And I consider it my duty in front of this crowd of witnesses to unmask him for what he truly is. This is no laughing matter. There are 3 great deceptions that have marked Jacob's life. The first great deception is that he chooses to present himself as the fool, when in fact he is a man of remarkable intelligence. I mean, I'm thinking back to the first day of year 10, when Mr. Farrington, our English teacher, was handing out our homework diaries. And as we were filling them out, we were writing our names, our year groups, and the date. And then I heard Jacob's voice, completely devoid of shame, so loudly ask, "Sir, how do you spell September?" Somehow this man had gone through 15 years of his life without learning how to spell the month that started every single school year and that populated every single one of his homework diaries. Then, of course, there's a story of him in his French oral mock exam. December of year 11, 16 years old. I'm 16, you're 15 years old. One by one, we would all go into Mr. Birch's classroom, and we would be asked to sit down and quizzed on some asinine topic from, the items that could be found in our bedroom to what we would do for our morning routine. So Jacob, filled with a great deal of confidence and a complete dearth of competence, stridently entered the classroom, and he opened his assessment with the following words. "Bonjour, Monsieur Birch." That was the first thing we were ever taught in French. Mr. Birch asked him if he wanted to try that again. It was later decided that sitting his French GCSE would do irreparable damage to Jacob's self-esteem. So he left secondary school sans GCSE. That means without in French, Jacob. In fact, I think Mr. Birch, he so perfectly summed it up in secondary school with a quote so good I had to record it verbatim. "Jacob, sir, I'm rather confused." Mr. Birch, "Well, that's just a perpetual state for you, son." But therein lies the deception, right? Because as we all know, when Jacob went to university, he transformed into a force to be reckoned with. He threw himself into a course that he truly loved, and from the word go, he got really good. He got a lot better than good. He finished his undergraduate with a first-class degree in computer games development, and then he graduated from his master's with a distinction in video games development. He had 2 papers presented nationwide at conferences and published in professional journals. And during his graduation, his university vice-chancellor gave him a shout-out on the quality of his thesis. He was fluent in C++, in C#, and another half dozen computer languages that I could never get my head around. So what he may lack in his ability to conjugate verbs in the French language, he more than makes up for in his skill to command digital worlds into existence with just a few clicks of a keyboard. He deceived us all by playing the fool when he was playing us for fools the whole time. Now, the second great deception is that he presents himself as the helpless victim when he is in fact the unassuming leader. Over our time together in school, Jacob somewhat developed a reputation as the lightning rod for our class. On more than one occasion, we had to have talks from our form teachers, a few of whom are present today, on the dangers of too much banter within our class, which was just code for leave Jacob alone. There was one particularly unfortunate term in the school year of year 10 when Jacob had contracted laryngitis. He required a special pillow to sit down as a result of a tailbone operation, and his Osgood-Schlatter, which was a medical condition, caused a great deal of pain in his knee joints. So in short, Jacob couldn't speak, he couldn't sit, and he couldn't walk. For a class of teenage boys with an overdeveloped wit and an underdeveloped sense of empathy, this is what you could call hunting season. The insults and the impressions came from the left and right, and there was no aspect of his misfortune that was beyond mocking, and there was no joke that was too mean. When we got to sixth form, it didn't stop, because now we were given the gift of the free period, i.e. time dedicated to mess with Jacob. One of our class's favorite pastimes, looking at you, David, was to hold Jacob down, take off his shoes, then take off his socks and proceed to hide them in the room. And I have a video somewhere on my phone of it happening, and then Jacob then saying with this pained expression on his face, "Why does this always happen to me?" But of course, this again is where the deception lies. Because at university, he was no victim. He was elected president of his Christian Union, and in his first year, and he led every week without fail, hosting the event and providing spiritual leadership for the 20 or so students who diligently came. And as a teacher, he's following on in generations of Sharples by educating young minds, leading from the front of the classroom. And even back at school, it was always Jacob's house. If he wanted to host something, Jacob would be the first to offer his house. If he wanted to have a sleepover, we can have it at Jacob's. It was done with school and we were kind of bored, just go to Jacob's, let's just play some games, right? Come to Jacob's. He'll fill you with snacks, and we can always hang out with him. And his summer birthday barbecue, every year, was always one of the highlights. So in a funny way, he was the glue that held our class together. He was the one who insisted that we spend time together after we had left school, who provided the means for us to hang out. And even today, with the exception of Daniel, who is currently residing in Australia, so he has a pretty good excuse, all of us who were at school together are in this room. None of us knew it at the time, but Jacob was the leader of our class. He was never the coolest, he was never the most popular, but he was always the most reliable, dependable, and most willing to open up his home. But now we get to the grandest of deceptions. And this one it's a real doozy. We have in Jacob Sharples the greatest of class clowns. And I mean the greatest. From the small acts of rebellion, like using President Obama as your Zoom background during sixth form and completely messing with Miss McDonald's head. Oh, there was there was the musical about a magical superpowered duck called Lisa. And then there was, of course, the rap that he developed in music class with Daniel. Footballers are overpaid. Do you remember this one? It's a real winner. If I may. Footballers are overpaid, more than will do them good. They have so much money.
They make more than most.
No.
They can buy
all people's food. He had the genius to rhyme good with food. I mean, just brilliant, right? I mean, Mozart, eat your heart out. Yeah, it's comedy and social commentary all rolled into one. I also remember the first line from the third verse, which is, why are the debts in Afghanistan so many when all people care about is Lionel Messi? It's just brilliant. Yeah. But for me, the standout moment of his class clownery was the vending machine. Oh yeah. You see, back then, Jacob could be described as something of a chunky monkey. And part of that appeal was him sitting shirtless on a bench in the PE room. He would then take one of his socks and deposit it into his stomach. And we could watch it completely disappear into the folds of his belly. He would then enthusiastically ask, "Who wants a sock?" He would then begin pressing buttons on his stomach. Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, boop. And then, out of nowhere, that very same sock would be spat out. I mean, it was just brilliant. I loved it. I loved it. I got you to do it again and again and again. It was the funniest thing in the world to me. Because some people can tie cherry stems in their mouth, and some people can guess your shoe size just by looking. But Jacob, as far as I'm concerned, has the ultimate party trick. But behind that brilliant buffoonery lies something deeply pure. He deceives us all when he acts as the clown, because there is something far more. In my second year of university, things became kind of challenging for me. I changed my degree, and then I changed my career path, all in the course of about 2 months, which kind of stirred up a lot of excitement and anxiety and confusion about what I was going to do with my life. Jacob was part of a prayer triplet that I'd formed, who would call together on Wednesday mornings to discuss and pray through life together. It was a much-needed lifeline. And then things became even more difficult in my final year of university. Bad breakup, go figure. But who was the first person I told? Jacob. Who was the person who would pick up his phone at 4 a.m. When I couldn't sleep and who would keep me company through many sleepless nights? It was Jacob. And who texted me every day for 3 months without fail, just asking one simple question. Had a good day? Jacob. These stories aren't, of course, deceptions, it's just change. But it's a very funny thing to see someone change. Because you see, we did school, sixth form, church, and youth together. And it's hard when you spend that much time in such close proximity to appreciate the change in a person. You can't really see the forest from the trees. But the last few years have allowed for the opportunity to step back and to see what a person is like when they truly stand on their own 2 feet. And I have found in you, Jacob, someone smarter, humbler, and kinder than I could ever hope to be. And Sarah, you have hitched yourself to a man who will make you laugh in the best of times, and who will hold you close in the hardest of times, and who will be a reliable fortress for all the moments in between. I'm older by you by like a good few months. It almost feels like a whole school year. But I really hope I'm like you when I grow up. I hope that you continue to deceive us, Jacob, because it is a brilliant magic trick. And one day, when I'm a little older, I hope you'll show me how it's done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. I fear the crying has only just begun. With that being said, please give a round of applause for the groom, Jacob Sharp.
I'm gonna stay here. Oh my goodness. I was like, I'm gonna try my best not to cry. You menace. Oh dear, sorry. I have to say, I've practiced this speech 5 times in my room alone. I have not been able to do it yet without crying. And like alone in my room, so you can, Okay. Hello everyone. I would like to start off by saying a big thank you from my wife and I. For coming to celebrate this very special day with us, especially those of you who have traveled so far to be here. I look around this room and I see so many happy faces. Every single one of you has been a huge blessing to both Sarah and I's relationship, and I am so grateful to have every single one of you in our lives. I wanted to say a special thank you to my parents, Sarah's parents, my gran, and Stephen and Lydia, for their special support and contributions. Without your help, we wouldn't have been able to make this day happen, so thank you. I was thinking of who I wanted to thank today. And one group stood out above all else, which is our family. I'm going to struggle, I'm nowhere near the end. So this is a thank you in 4 parts to our family. First, I want to thank my family in blood. To my parents for your unwavering support and love in all periods of my life. I cannot have been easy to love when I was growing out my hair. You have given me such immense affection, advice, support, physical, emotional, financial, and spiritual, and I would not be the man I am today if it were not for you. Thank you to my siblings. I've lost my place. Thank you to my siblings for being amazing people I could share my childhood with. And a thank you to my grandparents, uncles, aunts, cousins, second cousins, who have all been such a joy to know regularly and to spend the holiday season with and beyond. Secondly, I'd like to thank my family through marriage. Thank you for making and nurturing the most incredible, beautiful, funny, God-fearing woman I have ever had the honor of knowing and loving. Thank you for accepting me into your family and for all the support and advice you have given throughout the years. Thirdly, I would like to thank our friends because, as Lego Batman said, friends are family. You have all been so amazing to us, so incredibly supportive of our relationship and of us as individuals. To my friends, thank you for the years of fun, jokes, and love that you have provided me with, for the games we have played and the stories we have told. Thank you to my groomsmen for being there with me through the tough times, the deadlines, and the questionable wardrobe choices. To Sarah's friends, thank you for encouraging her and being with her throughout all the various stages of her life. Thank you to the bridesmaids for the love and support that you have provided her over the years. And thank you for being so encouraging of our love despite the age difference. Finally, and most importantly, I want to thank this wonderful woman who is now my wife. Now that we are married, we are family. And all the families who have surrounded us all our lives are joined together. God has truly blessed us with the best family imaginable, which is all of you. I pray that the years to come only bring more happiness than what you have given me. Becoming your husband. Becoming your husband has been the best thing to ever happen to me, and I cannot wait to see what the future holds for us. So I ask that everyone raise a glass as I give a toast to family in all its forms. The family in all its forms.